Hello, and welcome back to Enterprise Coworking Community Spotlight. This month, we are sitting down with Lisa Bartlett, Lighting Director, and Harmon Lee, Lighting Specialist for the Mountain West Division of AKLD Lighting Design. Lisa, Harmon, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Awesome. Great to be here.
Excellent. So let's get right into it. Why don't you guys tell us about AKLD Lighting Design and what you guys all do?
You got it. Well, the name sort of says it all, but most people are not necessarily familiar with lighting design as a specialty discipline. So most people are familiar with architecture and interior design. And we are another design discipline that does focus specifically on lighting design across a whole range of project types. So we design the architectural and sometimes the decorative lighting as well in project types that range from offices to luxury residential projects, people's homes, universities, houses of worship. We do healthcare, so pretty diverse in our project types. And we are hired as lighting designers it varies project to project. Sometimes we're hired directly by the client, and that might be a homeowner or a developer or a university. Sometimes we're hired or brought in by the architect or the interior designer because they really value architectural lighting design and are able to put together a collaborative team. But one of the things that we do is we work directly with all of the other design team members because lighting design is always supportive of showcasing the architecture and the interior design and even the landscape architecture. So we work really intimately with all of those design disciplines. Interestingly enough, architectural lighting design as an education did not come into, it was not available until relatively recently. And so people typically came into lighting design either through the world of architecture or the world of theater. And Harmon and I both have backgrounds in architecture. And I also have a background in interior design. Our firm has folks with other folks with backgrounds in architecture, engineering, interior design, theater, and even fine arts. So we're really diverse and we can think about things in different ways. But maybe, would you like to just see some of our work? Would that be helpful?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Harmon, do you want to share or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll pull up our website and just we can go through some projects if you'd like.
Right. Absolutely.
There's always so much more fun to just see the work, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that these two projects, they're both residential projects. Are kind of the poster children of AKLD for kind of the opportunity that light can play in a project and the role that we really bring on. So yeah, this one is it's a residence in Wisconsin, and we worked with the architect, hand in hand to create this beautiful lighting scheme that really acts as a lantern and elevates the architecture and the materials in this project. So, yeah.
And we designed all of the architectural lighting. I'm not sure on this project if we had selected the decorative fixtures, that might have been the interior designer. But for instance, like that cove lighting that you see in that ribbon of between the lower glass and the upper glass, that is actually one of the most magical things about the project because it's allowing the ceiling to glow. So when we look at a project like this and we're working with the architect and the interior designer, we're starting to identify and uncover those opportunities where we can highlight the materials, highlight the forms and the architecture, and then working on the details because exactly how that molding, that trim was designed and exactly what luminaire is in that to give that beautiful warm glow on the ceiling, which, by the way, we fully intended that this view that you're seeing, the lighting was thought about not just from the interior, but the exterior as well. And so that kind of level of detail into integrating the lighting where we're not looking for the lighting to necessarily be the superstar, the star of the show, but more like the best supporting actor or actress is really just helping the entire design really, really look beautiful, but also be visually comfortable and a really comfortable, wonderful place to be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very inviting. Yeah, I love how the lighting complements and brings out the architecture. I think that's a great pairing together.
Mm-hmm. All right, maybe you want to show a hospitality project too, just for a, or maybe an office project, just for a little bit of a visual contrast.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it can obviously be a supporting role in a project, or it can take, you know, the forefront and really transfer space to another level, and is truly what you which it causes you a totally different experience in the space. And so this is a great example of that with color changing RGB and all these different layers of light, right? Like you walk into this space and you're just in awe because there's so many things to look at. And so yeah, that's just another example of what lighting can do to a space. And AKLD Lighting Design has been doing it for a very long time. We've been in business for 28 years, believe it or not. And we've worked on projects all across the nation, but we're headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. So a lot of projects are around that area in the city. You know, just these beautiful high-rise apartments and also a lot of commercial work in that area. So yeah. What else, Lauren?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I loved all of that in there. That was so great. Yeah, this is awesome. It's great to actually see the work, because I mean the work that you're in is visual, so it helps us to
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. That's amazing. So let's see here. Another question. So what would you say makes AKLD Lighting Design different from other companies in your field?
Harmon, you want to tackle that first?
Yeah, of course. So I think the biggest thing that sets us apart off the bat is we are strictly lighting design, and we're a boutique firm that's all we focus on. So a lot of times in this, you know, an engineering firm will sometimes have people that will do this, or even an architecture firm sometimes has in-house lighting designers. But as you know, AKLD is strictly lighting design, and that's all we focus on. So I think that's the biggest thing. Lisa, do you have anything else?
Yeah, you know, what comes to mind for me is that there are a lot of lighting designers or people that do lighting design that fall into one of two categories. There are folks that have more of an engineering focus and that deliver very technical solutions and can deliver an even blanket of illumination. And there are people who tend to be a little more artistic or theatrical and are able to do that, but perhaps the ability to comply with energy codes, which restrict how many watts we can have on a project. And thus we have to be very intelligent about lighting design and very thoughtful about sustainability. AKLD Lighting Design does a great job of blending the creative and the technical. So we're able to not just come up with the beautiful concepts and ideas, but we're actually able to implement those. And that entails not just the creativity, it entails the communication with the project team. We spent a lot of time working through budgets on projects and making sure that lighting is actually coming in at the appropriate cost, because it's a field that for those not in the field, the best way I can describe it is and this is kind of a joke, is the lighting mafia. There are so many channels of markups that something that should cost, let's just make up a number, $100, by the time that it reaches the client may cost $200 or $300. And so we like to be advocates for lighting and make sure that we can actually get things built. And that requires not only the creativity and the technical know-how, but also the grit and determination to actually see a project through the completion of construction. So I woch say that that differentiates us as well.
Absolutely. That's awesome. We're gonna switch up the question a little bit here. And we're gonna ask you why you guys chose enterprise co-working.
Yeah, so it's funny, Lisa and I talk about this a lot, and I think the biggest thing that we love about enterprise is there's always a buzz going on, and there's so many different companies in the same space that I think Lisa and I just kind of feed off that type of energy, something always going on and people meeting and walking around the office. You'd be surprised how big of a difference I think that makes in your day, kind of helping you just, I don't know, if you need a mental break, you can walk over to the cafe or go down to the kitchen and talk to, somebody you've never met before that does a totally different thing. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I mean, for me, it's also the location and being in Rhino and just a really amazing creative place that I think is so important for a profession that we do, like lighting design. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the true spirit of co-working, getting to meet, all different kinds of people in different fields. And that's what we really try to bring everybody together to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We really enjoy being part of the enterprise co-working community. Yeah, one of these days in all the travels, we're going to try out all the other ones where we've got the partnership agreements. I look at that list all the time. I'm like, oh, when am I going to be there? When am I going to be there? I want to check out some of the other ones.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great program that we are a part of, the Lexico community. You can, all over the world, there are co-working spaces with that. So yeah, you can check some of those out.
Lauren, have you been to any other ones? Or?
I haven't, because I don't really travel too much for work,
Yeah.
But I've heard
you're not planning on a vacation where you go check out all of the other co-working spaces.
You never know. You never know. A little field trip. Yeah.
Exactly.
Too funny. That's too funny. So our last question would be, speaking to our viewers, is there anything else that you would like them to know about AKLD Lighting Design, about you guys, about what you do, anything more?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much to say, but Harmon, if you could stop screen sharing, I will show a couple of drawings and just because again, it's great to see the visuals and then be able to speak a little bit to a couple of other things that are really useful to know. So this is actually showcasing some early concept work just so that people can see a little bit of the type work that we do. So we worked on these renders. This is for a mid-rise project in downtown Bellevue, which is just outside of Seattle. And what's important to note about this is that, and I think this is something that is the bigger picture of how AKLD Lighting Design approaches projects. We are involved early. We're deeply passionate about what we do. So for instance, this example was born out of early design charrettes with the architect, the landscape architect, and the client to establish what were the really important parts of this exterior portion of the project. We're also working on the interior, but that collaboration and that passion and that creativity have fueled this early part of the project. However, we are not just designing the visual aspects of lighting. Something that people outside of the world of lighting may have begun to hear about is that lighting has an enormous impact on our circadian rhythms. So there are biological and neurological effects. Lighting is actually regulating as the primary driver of our circadian rhythm. So our sleep-wake cycles, our energy levels, when we're focused and motivated, when we're relaxed, it even impacts hunger and sex drive. So what we're doing with lighting is hugely, hugely impactful on health and wellness. And those are things that we think about during the design process and we talk about with our clients. So through the work that we do, and again, this is just a visual example of part of what we do, just one piece of it. We are striving to inspire and elevate, and we also want to bring joy to our projects and our clients and our teams. So we like to have fun, and we welcome people to strike up a conversation with us, whether around the office, they have any interest in chatting about a potential project. We would be delighted to do that. And we just love what we do. We absolutely love what we do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I learned a lot about lighting and how important it is here.
We actually have a full CEU, or a continuing education credit, that we deliver regularly to architects and interior designers and even clients about circadian lighting. It's something that Harmon and we really like to talk about. So anyway, I continue to learn more every day about that. And I think the medical research is fascinating. It goes well beyond visual effects.
Yeah. That's so interesting. That's really, really cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me today. I'm sure we could, talk for hours about this.
Yep.
Absolutely. But yeah, we are so happy to have you guys as part of our co-working community. Love to see you guys around. And then if anybody would like some more information on AKLD Lighting Design, you can go to akld.net. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.